Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome back to another tutorial. We are working on a different type of shawl today. This is the puff fan stitch, and it works up so pretty. And once this is blocked, it's not actually blocked yet, it's going to look even better and more defined, but you can see the puff stitches and the fan that it creates, and it just grows and grows and grows, and it's super easy to do. So we are going to work on that today. This is actually fingering weight yarn, and you can use whatever type you like. This is actually just the variegated red Theban from my shop, and I'm doing a light color first, and then I'm going to gradually let it get darker and darker and darker, and it's going to look absolutely gorgeous, and you'll see that at the very end. But for now, we are going to just start very simply. So I'm using, again, just fingering weight yarn to show you, and I'm using a 3mm hook here, and that's what I've used for the actual project as well. So depending on what yarn you use, just use the corresponding hook that will be appropriate for that. And if you want something that's not as light and airy as this, then you can use a thicker yarn, but I think that it looks nice, nice and flowy with fingering weight or even a lace weight yarn. So what you're going to do is start with a loop and just chain 5. 3, 4, 5. And 5 is going to be your magic number for this pattern. So you won't have to worry too much about shifting chain numbers, and you'll see what I mean in a minute. So we're going to create a circle. So you go into the first chain that you made and do a slip stitch like that, and that creates a little circle. And then you're going to chain 3. And a chain 3 always counts in this pattern as a double crochet. So you're going to go back into that hole there, and you're going to do another 2 double crochets. And don't let your hook slip off like mine just did. So just do 2 double crochets in there. And then you're going to chain 2. And then you're going to do 2 more double crochets. And then chain 2. And then 3 double crochets. And that is row 1 done already. So that's kind of something like that is what you should have. So you're going to turn your work for row 2, and into each of these 3 double crochets, you're going to do a slip stitch in the top of the stitch. So just climb or slide or creep along, however you want to describe it, with your 3 slip stitches. And then into this chain space, you're going to do another slip stitch. So basically you're just always traveling over to the chain 2 space when you start any new row, and then chain 3, and then 2 more double crochets into that space, and then chain 2, and then 3 double crochets into that same space again. Okay, and then you're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then jump over to the next chain 2 space, and you're going to do 3 double crochets again, chain 2, and then 3 double crochets into that same space. And that is row 2 done. Okay, so for row 3, we turn our work, and as always, just do a slip stitch until you get to the chain 2 space in the middle. So that's 4 slip stitches, and then chain 3, and then 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets all into that same space. Okay, then you're going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then single crochet into that chain 5 space from below, and then chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then jump across to the chain 2 space here in this cluster, and you're going to do your 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets into that same space. And that is row 3 done. So that's basically what your work will look like. And then you are going to turn and always start with your 4 slip stitches. Just like that, and then chain 3, 2 more double crochets, chain 2, and then 3 double crochets, and then you're going to chain 5, and then single crochet into the chain 5 space from below, then chain 5, single crochet into the next chain 5 space, and then chain 5 again. And then you jump over to this chain 2 space and do your cluster shell, which is 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochets. And that is row 4 done already. So it starts off very easy, and it's not very difficult, although it looks very complicated and stressful. It's stress-free. So that's basically what you should have for now. Now we are doing the same thing. So do your 4 slip stitches for row 5. And then do your cluster, so chain 3, 2 more double crochets, chain 2, and then 3 more double crochets. Okay, and then we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're going to do a single crochet into the chain 5 space from below, and then into this middle space here is going to be something different. So we're going to chain 1, and then into this we're going to do 7 double crochets. So into that same middle space there, just do 7 double crochets. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and then chain 1, and then single crochet into the next chain 5 space, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you're ending with your cluster stitch again into this chain 2 space. So that's 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. All right, so that is row 5 done. So now row 6, we do the same thing, turn our work and do our 4 slip stitches and our cluster shell. So make sure you chain 3 first and then 2 double crochets, chain 2 and then 3 double crochets, okay, and then you're going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then single crochet into the chain 5 space, and then you're going to chain 1 and into these 7, oh, kind of blurry there, into the 7 double crochets from below. You're going to do a double crochet into each one of those, but in between each double crochet you do a chain. So double crochet, chain, double crochet, chain, all the way across the 7. So that's the 3rd one, 4th one, make a chain, 5th one, make a chain, 6th one, make a chain, and 7, and then you single crochet, or sorry, you chain space, make a chain after that one. So you will have a slightly wider fan here. So what we did on the right side, we're going to do to the left. So we've done our chain and then do a single crochet now into that chain 5 space, and chain 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then do your cluster shell into the chain 2 space. Okay, and that is row 6 done. So now we are going to turn our work and do the same thing again, slip stitch 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then chain 3 and do your cluster stitch or cluster shell. So that's 2 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. Then we're going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then into the chain 5 from below, we are going to do a single crochet. And then you're going to chain 2. And then into, there's some gaps in between that you can see here. So we're going to be working into 6 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So always skip the first one here that you see. Just ignore that. So into the second one here, you're going to do a puff stitch. So how you do that is yarn over and then pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop. So you do that 4 times. And then yarn over and pull through all your loops except for the first one. So you'll have 2 loops left, then yarn over and pull through both of those. And that's your first puff. So then you chain 2, and then you do the same thing into the next stitch. So that's yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop. Then yarn over and pull through all of those until you have 2 loops on your hook. Then yarn over and pull through both of those. Then chain 2 and keep going until you have 6 of these. Going a little bit slower so that you can keep up if you're a little bit newer to this. Okay, so when we have our last one, we have 6 puff stitches, and we chain 2, and then single crochet into this chain 5 space, chain 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then do your cluster shell at the very end. And that is row 7 complete. So for row 8, we are going to, this one is pretty easy. So you're going to turn your work, and again, just do your 4 slip stitches first. And get those done, and then do your cluster shell. And then we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then do a single crochet into the chain 5 space. then you're going to chain 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then in between the first puff stitch and the second one, you're going to do a single crochet. Then chain 5 again. 3, 4, 5. And in between the second and third puff stitch, you're going to do a single crochet. And then you're going to chain 5. Now we're going to skip the third and the fourth, and into the fifth one you do a single crochet. So in between the fourth and the fifth one. Okay, and then chain 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, and do a single crochet in between the fifth and the sixth puff stitch. So what you've done is you've actually created 3 chains across the 6 puff stitches. So always remember that when you have these, you'll always have 3 loops above that. Okay, so chain 5 again, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then single crochet into that chain 5 space that's on to the left, and then chain 5 again, and then do your cluster stitch. And that's row 8 done. So for row 9, this is where we're going to start the next 2 fans. So turn your work and you can slip stitch across like normal. So that's 4 slip stitches. Chain 3. And then do your cluster shell. So that's 2 more double crochets, chain 2, and then 3 double crochets. Okay, then chain 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And into the first chain 5 space, you do a single crochet, and then chain 1. And into this other new space we have here, this chain space, before we get to the puff stitches, you're going to do your 7 double crochets. So you're doing here what you did down here. So do those 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then you chain 1, and then single crochet into the next chain 5 space, and then chain 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you single crochet into that, then chain 5 again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and single crochet into the next chain space, and then we are going to chain 1, and what we did on this side we're going to do on this side here. So you do your 7 double crochets into this space here. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then chain 1. You're going to single crochet into this next chain space, then chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you jump over and do your cluster shell into that chain 2 space. So that's row 9 done. So basically you're jumping back to repeat what you did in row 5, and so now we're going into row 6, but that's now row 10. It will all make sense. So just turn your work. Row 10 is just the same start as always with your 4 slip stitches. Make your cluster stitch, or cluster shell, I should say. And then you're going to do chain 5 as normal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then single crochet into this chain 5 space from below. And then you're going to chain 1 again and do a single crochet into, do a double crochet into all of the previous double crochets, but have a chain space in between. So double crochet, chain space, double crochet, chain, double crochet, chain, double crochet. Make sure you have 7 of those. And then once you have those 7 with the chain spaces, then you chain 1, single crochet into that next chain space, then chain 5, single crochet into the next space, chain 1, and then it's the same thing again. So double crochet, chain 1, double crochet across all 7. And then chain 1, single crochet into that chain space, chain 5, and then your cluster shell into the end. And that is row 10. So as you can see, you're just repeating now rows 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But we are just counting this higher. So turn your work for row 11. Do your 4 slip stitches. Chain 3 and do your cluster shell. And then chain 5 as always. Then single crochet into the chain space. Then you're going to chain 2 and then do your puff stitches again. So remember to skip this first space in between the first and second here. So go into this second space here and do your puff stitches. And then chain 2 and then your next puff stitch. And so make sure you have 6 of those with 2 chain spaces in between. So then you do your chain 2, then you will single crochet into the next space, then chain 2, and then do your next batch of 6 puff stitches. Okay, so chain 2, single crochet into that chain space below chain 5, and then do your cluster shell. That's row 11 done. So to continue, I'll just give you the next I'll do the next couple of rows with you. So just single crochet across your first 4, and then do your cluster shell. And then chain 5. Two, 3, 4, 5. Then you single crochet into this space below. Then chain 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you remember, you go into the first, in between the first and second puff stitches, and you do a single crochet. Then chain 5. Then go into the second and third, and that's where you do your single crochet. Then you chain 5 again, and then skip over the next 2 puff stitches. So in between the 4th and the 5th, you do your single crochet. then chain 5, and then single crochet into the space between the 5th and the 6th. So remember, you always have those 3 loops on the top, then chain 5, and then you jump over to the space in between the 1st and 2nd puffs, do a single crochet and chain 5, and in between the next 2 and chain 5, skip the next 2 and then do a single crochet into the space in between the 4th and 5th, then chain 5 and do a single crochet into the space in between the 5th and the 6th, chain 5, single crochet into the chain 5 below, chain 5, and then your cluster stitch or cluster shell. So that is that row 12 complete. It's nice and easy. It's just chain 5s. And then row 13, turn your work. And you can see here how your work is growing. And you're going to have, in these spaces here, 3 puff stitches, or 3 puff fans, I guess. So you're growing it, and then it's going to have 4 and 5 and 6. So I'll just give you this little one to go on. So do your 4 slip stitches across, then you do your cluster shell to begin, then chain 5, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you will do a single crochet into that chain space. Then you're going to chain 1 and into this space. So always before you, remember you have these 3 loops that I've told you that go above your puff fan. So in this, the chain before that is where you're going to start your next puff fan. So you will do your 7 double crochets here. Okay, and then chain 1, and then single crochet into that next chain space, chain 5, single crochet into the next space, chain 5, single crochet into the next space, then chain 1, and you're going to do your 7 double crochets into that space, then chain 1 and single crochet into the next space, chain 5, single crochet into the next space, chain 5, single crochet into the next space, chain 1, and then 7 more double crochets. then chain 1 and single crochet into this next space, then chain 5, and then do your cluster stitch, your cluster shell into the next, your final chain space here. And that is row 13 done. So I will leave you to it. I think you should be able to, well, hopefully this has been helpful and you can follow along now. So you can just turn your work, do your cluster shell, always do your chain 5, then single crochet, and then you're gonna single crochet again, and then do your double crochet, chain, double crochet, chain, double crochet. You do that, then chain 1, and then single crochet into this, then chain 5, and then single crochet, then single crochet, and then that same pattern again where you're doing your double crochets, chains, double crochets. Then you jump here and it's a single crochet here, and then chain 5, then single crochet, then chain 1, and then you're doing the same thing again, double crochet chains all the way across, chain 1, single crochet, and then chain 5, and then your cluster shell. So it should all make sense. You can for this row you're basically doing row 5 again, and then 6, 7, 8, and so you're just repeating those. So that's all there is to it. Hopefully this was helpful and gives you something a little bit different to work on. And yeah, so just have fun with this and make beautiful things, and we'll see you in the next tutorial at some point. So take care of yourselves wherever you are. Take care. Bye-bye.